This is an exciting time of the year, as I always say. In my world, it's baseball season. Even though we're enjoying, of course, hoop season, for us, this is our time to prepare and get out there and practice, and the season will be here before we know it. It's an honor and a privilege to speak to a group and hopefully motivate a group that loves to lead and loves to serve. And to me, it's the epitome of being successful, and Cynthia reads out nice accolades from my career, but you do not achieve success by yourself. You achieve with great help, great support, great people, but also it starts with a heart for serving, a heart for helping others succeed. And so my challenge today is run down some key points that I believe are crucial to success, and after that great lunch, give you an opportunity to write down some notes, and then we'll Q&A at the end. I'll run through the slide machine here, if I have the right one. She said, "Did you turn it on?" Yes. Now I did. A few years ago, as the success we had at the University of Louisville, it was deemed the year of the Cardinal. And as a coach, as a leader, as a parent, we're always thinking about the future. One of my flaws, sometimes I think, or maybe it helps us to be successful, is not necessarily enjoying the present moment as much as I should, always preparing for the future. It's that recruiting mind that I have to prepare for the future. And so as we're celebrating this great 2012-2013 year, going through my mind, when ESPNU came out with the great video of the year of the Cardinal, was preparing for the next season. And the goals and the expectations of our team, and was very proud. Last year in 2014, we were the only team to make it back to the College World Series from the previous year. Not only that, we were the only team that made it to the Sweet 16, meaning no matter who won the Super Regionals, only Louisville had the chance to be back-to-back participants in the College World Series. And so as I stand up here today, I can tell you that we've talked about going 3 straight years, but not at this moment. We started talking about going to Omaha 3 years in a row 3 years ago, or I guess we should say 3.5 years ago. That in order to achieve great things, we have to set goals. You don't get to the top of the mountain and look around and say, "How did I get here?" No, the great ones, the ones who succeed, the ones who win championships, the ones who get to the top of the mountain, realize they had a game plan. They might have altered, their strategy throughout the course, throughout the ups and downs, but there was a game plan to get to the top of the mountain. And so as we start 2015, as I said, what an honor, a new year, new life, new excitement, new opportunity. The challenge is always, let's make this the best year ever. Why not? As we control our attitude and our actions every day, my encouragement today is that we have the mindset that no matter what happened in 14, as Chris Morgan, our FCA director, wisely says, you've either been in a storm, you've either just come out of a storm, or you're about to go into a storm, is the reality of life. So no matter what happened in 14, good or bad, best year, worst year, this is a new year and a new opportunity. And so we want to have the mindset that 2015 will be the best year. As I mentioned, how does that happen? You first define your goals. What is it you're trying to accomplish? Set your goals, make them clear. Obviously for you to understand, but for your team to understand. We just filled out our team goals at the meeting last week, and we posted them yesterday, meaning the 35 players on my team actually picked the goals for the year. It does me no good to pick the goal for the year. I'm not the one living it out. They're the ones ultimately going to decide if we achieve our goals or not. And how, as the leader, am I going to get the most out of a group if I'm not chasing their dreams, their goals? Now, when we recruit them, we encourage them to come to Louisville, is to come to a program to succeed academically, to have individual development success, get you ready for pro ball, to make it to Omaha and win a national championship. So when we're selling our product, we want to make sure that we're clear in what we're selling, upfront and honest, and those that choose that have what we have. We're offering what it is they're trying to achieve. Once they get in the program, they collectively put their minds to the paper, and we pump out their goals. And then it's my job as the coach to help them achieve those goals. How? How do we do that? I'm going to challenge you 3 ways to be the best that you can be. And I believe it's a combination of the physical side, the mental side, and the spiritual side. Now, when I speak to large groups, you know, you never know the level of one's faith in a room. But it seemed like minutes ago we were standing here with our heads down in a prayer. So I get the sense there's got to be a spiritual tone in this room. Maybe not everybody individually, but collectively as a group. So I'll share my beliefs on the physical, mental, and spiritual side. And what I like to do is challenge our kids is to win the day. Let's just take it one day at a time. You know, we want to have goals. We want to have something off in the distance that we can shoot for. But as we like to say, we want to be where our feet are. It's a saying we use often in athletics, especially in baseball, because you're playing in a conference tournament, you're playing in the regionals, you're playing in the super regionals. Yes, the ultimate goal is to get to Omaha and win a national championship, but we have to take care of the position we're at today. Be where your feet are. And so we want to win the day, one day at a time. So let's work on you. The 2 things that I believe can change your life are the books that you read and the people you associate with. I grew up in New York. Okay, went to a Catholic school, had a strong New York accent. Some of you might think I still, but we had a phrase often in New York, and you saw it on my cousin Vinny, when he said the Utes, or we would say yous, plural, not just you, it's yous, meaning more than one. I went from New York to the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina, to which to this day my nickname is still Yankee, which I love the Yankees, but I don't think that's why they call me Yankee. And by the time I came home for Christmas break, just 6 months later, the yous became y'alls. And it taught me, and you should see the look on my friend's face, as if I were an alien when they heard y'all come out of my mouth. And see, what it is we become a product of our society. You're going to talk the way those that talk around you. You'll catch on to their phrases, their lingo. And through these 2 simple ideas, it's amazing the transformation you can have day to day. Let's attack the books first. And I'll leave it up there for a couple minutes if you want to pencil some of these down. Great motivational, inspirational books. The Compound Effect, The Encore Effect. You have the spiritual books like Mark Batterson. If you ever read one of his books, boy, he will hit you right in the chest. All In, The Circle Maker, In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day. It's the story of Benaiah in the Bible. One paragraph in the Bible transformed into a book and a challenging lesson. Og Mandino, I'm sure we've read some of his. Quick hitters. You're in an airport, you're on a plane. What's your mindset when that flight is delayed? What's your mindset when that flight gets canceled? I know what mine was for many years. Now I try to take a different approach. It's more time for me to read. I get my best reading done when I travel. When I'm waiting for a flight, when I'm sitting on an airplane, it's amazing how much reading I get accomplished when I travel. So when you get that delay or that cancellation of a flight, please don't cuss me out, but think about that opportunity to spend some time in a good word, an inspirational word. Andy Andrews, The Noticer, Traveler's Gifts. John Gordon, these are great, as I call them, lid lifters. These are quick, inspirational hitters. And what I do with my players, two things. One, I read to them, literally in our meetings, just like the legendary coach I played for did for me, and I will push books on them. I will hand them books to read. I will hand them books to say, please read this chapter or that chapter. It's to the point now where kids will come up to my office asking, Coach, what book do you think I should read? And I'll turn behind me, open up the cabinet, and grab a book. The butterfly effect. And I'm not going to act like I'm a great reader or a fast reader. I get distracted easily. This is a book you will read within minutes. It's a very short book, but the concept is amazing. And this was the book we followed last year. I read from this book to the team, and this year I just quickly scanned over it. How about some more athletic books, if you want to call them that? Toughness by Jay Billis, big basketball community. The Gold Standard, which was USA basketball and getting back to being the dominant country in the world, the game that we invented. We had lost a hold of it. When the Game Stands Tall, you probably saw the movie or have kids who saw the movie. But this book had been out for maybe 10 years before the movie came out. Great book. I literally read a chapter from this book to our team every year before the season starts. And that guy's a high school football coach. Amazing. Lone Survivor and American Sniper. I read Lone Survivor before the movie came out. Of course, my ears perked up when I knew we had a Navy SEAL in the room. And when I heard American Sniper was coming out, I wanted to read the book first before I saw the movie. And they do as good a job as they can in the movies, but it just never captures as much as you can by reading the book. The detail you can grab and the imagination that you can have picturing what these individuals are going through. Unbroken. It's a long book, and there's some tough chapters in there. If you've read that, it feels like it's never going to end. But that's why you keep reading, because you're trying to get to the celebration of it. And it was hard for the movie to even capture the things that happened after the war was over. But the book captures it all. Help the Helper. I'll read a little bit from that in just a second. And Coming Back Stronger. Drew Brees, so even though it's an NFL quarterback, it talks about struggles in their lives and things that they overcome. And so I would challenge you, dive into a good book. You can go on Amazon, they'll ship it to your house. Or when you're in the airport, you could pop through a bookstore. Who do you associate with? My goal is to challenge those kids, surround them with love and care, good people, honest people, goal-oriented people. It's fun recruiting kids, and talking to their mom and dad, trying to encourage them why they should send their son to our university and our baseball program. I've said this for many years, and I believe it with all my heart. I mean, good kids win. I mean, they win in life. And the players that I'm coaching, they know, as competitive as I am, and as much as we want to win a national championship, they know life is much bigger than the 3 or 4 years that they're going to spend with us. And we have such a responsibility to help prepare them to be the ambassadors that we want them to be. Kids who work hard in the classroom. We just completed our 7th straight semester of a team GPA of over a 3.0. I went about 18 years. I've been close. When you have 35 kids, you know, in the law of average in math, you know, 1.25 has to be offset with a 3.5. And with 35 kids, we had been close many, many times. But we just made a conscious effort to recruit smart kids, goal-oriented kids, kids that we can push and motivate and challenge. And for the 7th semester, the last 2 years in Omaha, as much as we want to stay there longer and win that national championship, one of the proudest moments as a coach and as a father is 13 and 14 with the 8 schools there. The Virginias and the Vanderbilts and the North Carolinas and the Indianas. Both in 13 and 14, the University of Louisville received the highest team GPA award. And that's a proud moment as a coach to watch one of your seniors walk up there in front of 20,000 people with all 8 teams standing on the field to represent the highest team GPA of the 8 teams in Omaha. And so we put a great deal of emphasis on our kids to succeed in the classroom. Kids who treat people with respect. I mean, successful businessmen and women out there, there's got to be intelligence, and there's got to be some gusto, and there's got to be some consistency, but you got to know how to treat people. I mean, and you might see people move up the ladder that don't, but eventually it's going to get caught up to them. Eventually they will fall off. This could be the #1 ingredient in being successful, is treat people with respect. Kids who work hard on and off the field. No matter what last year was or what yesterday was, we have that opportunity to win today. So we want to work hard today. And it's a lot of fun coaching 18 to 22-year-old kids to work hard on the baseball field, but also to work hard in the classroom and in the community. And so we challenge these guys to win the day. Here's what I learned in the compound effect, and it's very true. Days are tough. Curveballs of life come at us, and we have no control over that. But what I learned was we have great control of the mornings, and we have great control of the evenings. Once we step foot into society, into the community, into that office, who knows what's going to happen? We have to be able to handle all the curveballs. And so I learned years ago I can control the morning and win the morning, meaning I can set the alarm clock for whenever I want to get up. And so by getting up at an earlier hour before anyone else in the house, I can spend time in prayer and my devotionals. And to be accountable, I have a football coach that I fire it off to. So I fire off my devotional to him, he fires off his to me, and we hold each other accountable. Family time, the kids are going to get up, and if you're familiar with a coach's schedule and how crazy it is and the travel requirements, and yes, you know, the coaches' wives are the most amazing people in the world, what they do day in and day out. And my Julie is a saint. But knowing that I control my mornings I can spend time with my boys before they go to school. So I can make breakfast in the morning. I can wake them up. I can send them on their way. I can sing with a bad voice in the morning, and I can try to lift their spirits and their energy, as I know most of the time I'm just getting on their nerves. But they know that I'm awake and I'm excited and happy to attack this day, and I want them to have that spirit. And as they're walking out the door, as they get a ride to school, I always say their name, Jake and Justin, I love you. And then I always say, and God does too. Every day when they walk out the door. Then I'm in my workout clothes, and then I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to get my exercise in the morning. And for me, it's the healthiest time of the day. I get a lot of thinking done on the treadmill. On the bike, I can read. We talk about challenging times to read. A stationary bike while you're working up a sweat. Got HLN, CNN on TV. I can read a chapter from my book. I'm accomplishing 2-3 things at once. And so I try to get that exercise. And if you come to our office most mornings, you're going to see me in shorts and a sweatshirt. My hair's all over the place, depending on what time you show up. But I know I'm in control of those mornings. I want to win the middle of the day, but we all know some days are good and some days are bad, and some days the ball doesn't bounce our way. Some days somebody bumps into our car or steals something from our trunk, or things that are out of our control. And so maybe you're not a morning person. Maybe you can't win the morning. All right, why not win the evening? Maybe get home and be the guy that can be home for dinner with your family. I drive right by a gym on my way home, and there's glass windows, and I always look over and I see people getting their exercise in the evening. It's not my cup of tea, but I see others doing it, realizing they must be trying to win their evenings. You can spend time with your kids before they go to bed. You can make phone calls for those kids that are not in the nest anymore. And so I challenge you to win the morning or win the evening. Here's a great way to start off your week. And if you've heard me speak before, I'm a big Dr. Elko fan. Write this down, drelko.com. The Monday morning cup of inspiration. This is awesome. He's probably got about 50,000 followers. It's free. The email will get sent to you at about 3:30 in the morning. And so when you turn on your iPhone or BlackBerry or your computer, it's there. You click on it, it's 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. It's the Monday morning cup of inspiration. Dr. Elko is one of the leading inspirational guys in the country. But what's neat about him, which I love because he works with athletic teams and he works with many successful businesses, is he's got a spiritual tone to him. And I love the balance he has and the challenges. And so 2 years ago, he gave us the Walmart challenge for all 40,000 who listened to it. And by the way, when I listened to it, paste it, I sent it to my brothers, I sent it to my mom. I have to email it to my mom because she's not going to be able to pull it up on her phone. So I email it to her. Then I fire it off to a couple coaches. Then I fire it off to some friends, knowing that even though some of them probably get the email by now anyway, I'm just reminding them, hey, here's a great way to start the week. And so he had a challenge a couple Christmases ago to go into a Walmart right around Christmas and see if there's somebody that you can help, somebody in need. And it's not an easy thing to do if you've never done this. It's one thing to pay off somebody's layaway or buy Starbucks for the person behind you, but to have face-to-face contact with somebody. Because you're afraid sometimes, you might insult someone. But if you pray to God and you allow him to nudge you, he's going to point you in the right direction. He'll nudge you to the right person to reach out to. And he nudged me. I walked around the corner to the bicycle aisle. And he said, go help that woman. And I walked up to her and I said, ma'am, I feel like I'm called here to help you today. This was Christmas Eve. I had worked out, my typical sweatshirt and hat, shorts, December. She probably looked at me like, who is this guy? And she started crying. You talk about helping someone else. It's the greatest gift in the world. It's what God calls us to do, to serve. There is no greater gift. He says to love. It's to serve. And so I did it again this year. And it was even harder this year. I walked up and down that aisle for probably 30 minutes, not knowing who am I approaching. Who do I ask? You just pray to God and He nudges you. And I went up to a couple and I said, I came here to Walmart to get a couple things today, and I'd like to help you if you'd let me. And she smiled so big, and he wasn't hesitant at all. He had that cart filled. I said, how many kids you got? He said, 5, under the age of 7. I said, I don't think that's enough toys. Why don't you go grab some more? Man, he didn't hesitate. He took off, and I was so glad. I mean, you talk about a gift during the Christmas season. But where did I get that from? I was motivated by somebody else. I was motivated by Dr. Elko, somebody that I respect. I was challenged by somebody. Who you associate with and the things you read. Here's a challenge, and I have a high schooler. Sleep in on the front end. All right? Sometimes it's hard to win the day when we get up groggy and tired because we go to bed too late. And believe me, it's tough. Monday Night Football, national championship games, the 9 o'clock game at the Yum. Oh, that hurts me. Those are tough nights. But I really try to map out my schedule and challenge my players, challenge my own 2 boys. If you want to win the day, if you want to win tomorrow, lots of times it's going to start tonight. Tonight can set the tone for tomorrow. I enjoy a good late night and the stand-up comedy. It's all, but more times than not, you'll realize, man, I just wasted an hour. I could have got to bed an hour earlier, could have got up an hour earlier, could have won the morning and had a better chance to win the day. There was a speaker one time in Las Vegas, big convention, and they paid him $25,000 to come speak and motivate this company. He walked up on stage, he got behind the microphone, and he said, tonight, before you go to bed, write down what it is you're trying to accomplish tomorrow. And he turned left, exited, and walked off the stage. Now, some companies might say, man, we just got ripped off. But when you think about it and you really dive into it, as we've all had our to-do list, my wife's favorite excuse for not getting something accomplished is I didn't write it down for her. And I understand that if I wanted something bad enough or needed her to pick up something bad enough or do something for me bad enough, I should have written it down. For ourselves, the feeling we get, the satisfaction when we knock off that checklist, the list of things. There's no way you're getting everything at the grocery if you don't have it written down on a piece of paper. There's no way. And there's no way you're going to accomplish as much today or this week compared to writing it down as opposed to not writing it down. So whether you want to start off on Sunday with a notepad and write down everything you want to get accomplished for the week, or you want to do it night to night, I have these little spiral notepads everywhere. At Walmart, you can buy like a book of 5 for $1 or $2. And I leave one in my car, got one on my visor, got one on my desk, got one by my bedstand, got one in the bathroom. But, hey, when these thoughts come up, You write them down, stick that little piece. I got these little pieces of paper everywhere. And sometimes I don't get everything on the list, but I promise you I get a lot more accomplished when I write it down. As we start the new year, when we pick up some new tips, my challenge and my goal for you is, can you get some momentum? Get some momentum. You know, everybody talks about the New Year's resolution. We know how difficult that is. The reason it's so difficult is because we don't allow ourselves to get momentum. We don't get through the 3 and 7 day challenge, the toughest part. And we don't work into week 2 and ultimately week 3. If you're going to change a good habit, a bad habit to a good habit, or create that good habit, it usually takes 21 days. And if you've ever done a cleanse, I've done one of those. I consider myself someone who eats well, but I got some bad habits. You know, potato chips at night, sweets. I was waiting to get an evaluation from Tom. I didn't know which dessert to pick, and he picked one with the dark chocolate on top of the cake, like a molten cake, and I was waiting to get an evaluation on that. So I have my weaknesses. So when I do a cleanse, the first 3 days, that craving for the salt. You know how you are after you eat a meal, or that craving for a sweet after you eat lunch. And it's hard, but if you can get through 3 days, you shoot for 7. And once you get into week 2, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Once you get to 21 days, there's a good chance you've created a habit, hopefully a good habit. And for all of us who've been on a merry-go-round at some time in our life, the toughest part is when it's still. And I got to lean back, and I got to use my legs, and I got to use my back, and I got to push. And I got to get some momentum going. Once I get that momentum going, it's easy. And so we challenge our kids, good momentum. Let one good day become 2, become a week, become a month, become a semester. Put together a good semester, starting today. Unfortunately, we've had bad days and bad weeks and bad months. One bad thing led to 2, led to a bad week, a bad decision, and you got your hands on your head going, that's a bad stretch right there. That was just bad momentum. I got to stop and get off and start over. It happens. It's a part of life. Help the Helper was one of the books, and we've used this phrase on our shirt, and now we'll just put HTH. It's an excellent book from a professor at Rice and a former basketball coach. It's kind of a basketball term, Help the Helper. And quick scenario, an analogy, we all go out to eat. We love good restaurants. You drop your spoon at a restaurant. In a good restaurant, you grab the first person who comes by you. You say, I dropped my spoon. He goes, wait 1 second, I'll go get your server. He gets your server, he brings you a spoon. In a better restaurant, you drop your spoon. You wait for the first person to walk by. You grab that server. You say, I dropped my spoon. He says, okay, I'll go get you another one. He goes and runs and gets a spoon and brings it to you. In a great restaurant, you drop that spoon, and everyone around has noticed that that spoon has hit the ground. Every server, every person bussing the table. Sometimes the manager of the restaurant, and immediately they're on you. And they give you that spoon. See, the great restaurants have a concept of teamwork. It's not, well, that's not my table over there. I'm just going to serve this table because that's not my table. When we take that mindset into the real world, lots of times we're holding ourselves back. The challenge in trying to succeed, better yourself, better the company, is to do things for others. Help others succeed. Help them get where they want to get. Find out where they want to get and help them. The younger I was, the more I was in the bubble. was all about me. I went to Omaha as a player. I look back on that time, and it was all about me. I was a player playing in the College World Series. Great memories. When I went as a coach, and I got to step back and see what it was really like, I was blown away. So much more than the players. The family members, the parents who spent so much time, right, Mike? Taking the kids to the batting cage and coaching the travel teams and driving them to and from practice. And I got to step back and watch the enjoyment of family members and friends and former coaches. And you realize, man, get out of the bubble and stop just worrying about yourself and do your part to help others succeed. That's what the Rotary Club is, helping others. What a great cause. The last thing I'll close with is RAS, Reticular Activating System. Programming the mind. You have to see it. The visual aid of seeing it. I take Dr. Elko's Monday Morning Cup of Inspiration and I give it to my video guy because I don't think hearing it is even enough. And I make my video guy put it to pictures. So he has a 4 or 5 minute audio. We put pictures to it and we show it up on the screen to our team when there's certain ones that I really like, because I know the pictures will speak 1,000 words. Sometimes when we're trying to accomplish something or we're trying to get others to accomplish something, we have to put that clearly in front of them to see. So we like to talk about our rings and showcase our rings and challenge them. We're trying to get a ring with a number 1 on the top. We love the dog pile. The dog pile is something we talk about often. Great memories, and the more they believe it. And when it happens, they're able, to do it. So we use motivation, videos, pictures often. When the kids went home for the holidays, they had 29 days from the first final exam, 29 days before our next team meeting. And so I gave each kid on the team a booklet with 29 dog piles in it. And every day, we text them, dog pile number 1, and then on day 2, dog pile number 2. And even if it was other schools, it was Mississippi State, it was UCLA, it was UC Irvine, get them to see it. You can see it, you can believe it, you can obtain it. We have some really neat things coming up in the month of January. And if you've heard me on sports radio, as I always say, January is baseball season. We have our leadoff banquet next Friday night. 3 big leaguers who all played at the University of Louisville. The guy there in the middle, Adam Duvall, is from Butler High School. And I tell the story, Adam Duvall was the last player we signed in that class. At the end of the season, an infielder from Georgia said, "Coach, I'm a little too far away from home, a little homesick. I'm going to transfer to a school closer to home." So I called in our coaches and I said, "We need an infielder. We just lost one." They said, "There's this kid, Adam Duvall." About 6 weeks before school started, we signed him. The last player in that class. Today, he's in the big leagues. And when you walk into the stadium every morning in the off season and you walk up to your office and you look out the window, you'll see one player taking ground balls on the field. And wouldn't you know, it's his dad hitting him ground balls. 8 in the morning, 8:30, 9 in the morning, every day in the off season. Like I tell our kids, you win with people. Adam knows he didn't get there by himself, but man, he's worked hard. So that's going to be a proud moment next Friday night, with all three of them getting their degree, as well as making it to the big leagues. We had 2 one-day camps last weekend. If you got a son or a grandson and he's getting ready for baseball, he's more than welcome. And here's our schedule. I'll scan through it quickly. You could go online. We got some neat games coming up. 31 are free admission. There's one game we charge for. That's the Kentucky game. It's a good fundraiser. And most people are shocked when you don't realize, wow, the season is right here, February 13th to the 15th. And as Cynthia said, if you haven't been out to Jim Patterson Stadium, it's a fun time. It's free admission, cheap concessions. We'll have a cancer awareness game. We'll have a patriotic night. And for you Twitter followers out there, you can follow us at U of L Baseball.